We'll begin by offering the Shishastak prayers. I can't hear the harmonium. Namaste Saraswati Devi Lord Pachani Visesha Srinivadi Prasthati Haribol. All glories to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years together. It extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge, and it increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and gives us a pure taste of that eternal nectar for which we're always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction upon a living being. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names, like Krishna, Allah, Govinda, Rama, El Shaddai, Jehovah, Damodar. And in each of these transcendental names you have invested all of your transcendental potencies. And there aren't even any hard and fast rules for chanting your holy names. My Lord, you've so kindly made approach to you easy by your holy names, but I am so fallen and so unfortunate. I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, feeling oneself to be lower than a straw in the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects unto others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Oh, my Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth. Nor do I want for the company of beautiful women, nor do I desire the followers of mine. All that I want, all that I desire, is that I might have your loving devotional service in my life, birth after birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servant. But even though I am eternally your servitor, somehow I've fallen into this dark ocean of material existence and birth and death. Please, therefore, lift me up from this ocean of death. Please lift me up from this ocean of death and place me as an atom of dust upon your lotus feet. Flowing constantly while I chant your holy name? When will all the hair on my body stand on end? My voice choking up husky with love for you in the new recitation of your holy name. Oh Govinda, Govinda, feeling your separation. I am considering a single moment to be like 12 years or more. And tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. Everything in this world is empty, tasteless, and useless in the absence of you. I don't know anyone except you, dear Krishna, as my Lord. And you shall always remain as such. Even if you should handle me roughly when you embrace me. Or you may make me broken-hearted by not being present before me. You may save me or you may slay me outright. You may feed me or you may make me starve. The choice is yours. Because you and only you can do anything and everything. But you are always my worshipful Lord, unconditional. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare. Namaste. We lost our young lady from Russia, from where was she from? Probably from Poland. Julia? I'm sorry we lost her. Anyway, it's so nice to see your bright and shining faces. Haribol, namaste. Thank you for joining us. Sharni, where are you? There you are. Hare Krishna, Haribol. So, today, we are looking at a very, very long chapter in the Nectar of Devotion. It's chapter 9. Further consideration of devotional principles. Sharni, mute your microphone. We're hearing your dog, I think. There you go. That's all right. Haribol. And this is a very nice chapter, although it is very long, but it really gives you a lot of things that you can think about, a lot of things that you can do. It's not just an outline like the previous chapters have been. It goes into some detail. Begins with blasphemy. Can everybody hear me okay? No problem? Just want to ask. Okay, Haribo. One should not tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or his devotees. In this connection, in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit, "My dear king, If a person, after hearing blasphemous propaganda against the Lord and his devotees, does not go away from that place, then he becomes bereft of the effect of all of his pious activities. So just as one can lose all their sinful activities by the blink of an eye of the Guru or of Krishna, one can become bereft of all their pious activities simply by staying around while somebody is blaspheming the Lord or his devotee. In one of Lord Chaitanya's Shishastak verses, it says the devotee should be more tolerant than a tree, and more submissive than the grass on the ground. He should offer all honor and respect to others, but he may not offer any respect or honor to himself. In spite of Lord Chaitanya's being so humble and meek as a devotee, when he was informed about the injuries inflicted on the body of Sri Nityananda, he immediately ran to the spot and wanted to kill the offenders, JAGAI and MADAI. This behavior of Lord Chaitanya is very significant and teaches a lot. It shows that a Vaishnava may be very meek, may be very tolerant, and very forgiving, foregoing everything for his personal honor. But when it comes to the honor of Krishna or of Krishna's devotees, he will not tolerate any insult. There are 3 ways of dealing with such insults. So if you're in a situation where someone is blaspheming, here are the 3 things that you can do. If someone is heard blaspheming by words, one should be so expert that he can defeat the opposing party by argument. Okay? If he is unable to defeat the opposing party, then the next step is that he should not just simply stand there meekly, but should give up his life. And the third process is followed if he is unable to execute either of the other 2 processes, and that is that one must leave that place and go away. If a devotee does not follow any of these above-mentioned 3 processes, he falls down from his position of devotion. So, if you don't have anything with which to take your own life, you should probably just leave. That's a good idea. Next is TILAK and Tulsi Beads. In the Padma Purana, there is a statement describing how a Vaishnava should decorate their body with tilak and beads. Excuse me. Persons who put Tulsi beads on their neck, who mark the 12 places of their body as Vishnu temples, with Vishnu's symbolic representations, the 4 items held in the 4 hands of Lord Vishnu, the conch, the mace, the disc, and lotus, and those who have Vishnu tilak on their foreheads are to be understood as the devotees of Lord Vishnu in this world. Their presence makes the world purified, and anywhere they are, they make that place as good as Vaikuntha. Now, many of you may not know, you can look this up, but there are 12 places. The forehead is 1, the neck 2, back of the neck 3, the chest 4, the stomach 5, 6 and 7 are the sides, and 8, and see, even I don't know. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've done all 12 of the places that you can put tilak. But mainly, it says here that you should have tilak on your forehead. And if you're not in a situation where you can put tilak on your forehead because people are going to look at you strangely. You can do it with water. You can just take a little water, put it on your finger, and give yourself tilak. And doing that, you're marking your body as Vishnu's temple. Each tilak is like another temple to Vishnu. A similar statement is in the Skandha Purana, which says, persons who are decorated with tilak or gopi chandan, a kind of clay that resembles fuller's earth, which is produced in certain quarters of Vrindavan, and who mark their bodies all over with the holy names of the Lord. That's another thing that tilak is. It's not only is it marking you various Vishnu temples, but each one has a particular name. When you say it, just like you say Sri Keshavaya Namaha when you put the tilak on your forehead, and there's Sri Narayana Namaha, Sri Vasudevaya Namaha, and so forth. Each one has a different name of Krishna. And on whose necks and breasts there are Tulsi beads, they are never approached by the Yamadutas. Of course, you know the Yamadutas are the constables of King Yama, the Lord of Death, who punishes all sinful men and women. Vaishnavas are never called for by such constables of Yamaraj. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the narration of Ajamil's deliverance, it is said that Yamaraj gave clear instructions to his assistants not to approach Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas are beyond the jurisdiction of Yamaraj's activities. The Padma Purana also mentions a person whose body is decorated with the pulp of sandalwood, with paintings of the holy name of the Lord, like tilak, is delivered from all sinful reactions. And after his death, he goes directly to Krishna Loka to live in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Too good, huh? So wear your tilak at least when you can. At least you can wear water tilak if you can. Accepting flower garlands. The next instruction is that one should put on flower garlands which are offered to the deity. In this connection, in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, Uddhava says to Krishna, "My dear Krishna, I have taken things which you have used and enjoyed, like garlands of flowers, some saintly articles, garments and ornaments, and I eat only remnants that you have left behind of your foodstuff, because I am your menial servant, and therefore I am sure that I shall not be attacked by the spell of material energy." The purport of this verse is that for any person who simply follows these rules and regulations of decorating the body with marks of tilak, of gopi chandan or sandalwood pulp, and those who put on the garlands which are offered to Krishna, there is no question of being conquered by the spell of material energy. At the time of death, there is no question that such a person being called by the constables of Yama. So, it's nice when you have sandalwood pulp to do it with. That's very nice. Even if one does not accept all the Vaishnava principles, but still takes the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna, or Krishna Prasad, they will also gradually become qualified to rise to the platform of a Vaishnava. Now this is very interesting because I got a note from somebody last time we talked who said that they were working, they didn't have time to make offerings to their deities on their temple and everything, and so they asked different family members to make the food according to their instructions. And, and they were concerned that Krishna should not be offered anything that is not made by a devotee. But if they're following I told them, if they're following your instructions, then it is just as well. And besides that, it engages your family. And they may not know anything about what they're doing, but they're engaged in devotional service in spite of themselves. And in so doing, they're benefiting their family in that way. Myself, when I offer some water on my altar, and the next day when I take the old water out and I put the new water in, I take the offered water and I pour it into our electronic hot pot. So my family, they're not devotees, but they get to taste deity water anyway, even though they don't even know it. Every time they have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, they have deity water. So you can do this. You can bring them into your devotional circle in devious ways and help them to become more Krishna conscious. Dancing before the deity. Oh wait, I haven't finished with the flower garland. You know, it's interesting. It says that you should wear flower garlands offered to the Lord. You know, someone who is engaged in some kind of false humility or thinks that, oh, well, no, I have to be humble. I don't want to. No, don't give me the garland. Give it to someone else. No. That is false humility. I mean, it says very clearly, it's even given, instruction. Accept it. Accept the prasadam offered to you by Krishna. Similarly, in the Skanda Purana, Lord Brahma tells Narada, my dear Narada, anyone who puts on his neck the flower garland which was formerly used by Krishna becomes relieved from all diseases and reactions to sinful activities and is gradually liberated from the contamination of matter. So this is a good thing. Dancing before the deity. In the Dvaraka Mahatmya, the importance of dancing before the deity is stated by Lord Krishna. A person who is in a jubilant spirit, who feels profound devotional ecstasy while dancing before me, and who manifests different features of bodily expression, this person can burn away all their accumulated sinful reactions that he has stocked up for many, many thousands of years. In this same book, there is a statement by Narada wherein he asserts, from the body of any person who claps and dances before the deity, showing manifestations of ecstasy, all the birds of sinful activities simply fly away. Just as by clapping your hands one can cause many birds to fly away, similarly, the birds of all sinful activities which are sitting on our body can be made to fly away simply by dancing and clapping before the deity of Lord Krishna. Another good thing to know. Bowing down in honor of the deity. In the Naradiya Purana, there is a statement about bowing down and offering one's respect to the deity. It is stated, a person who has performed a great ritualistic sacrifice and a person who has simply offered his respectful obeisances by bowing down before the Lord cannot be held as equals. Excuse me. The person who has executed many great sacrifices they will attain the result of their pious activities. But when such results are finished, then they have to take birth again on this earthly planet. However, the person who has once offered respects, bowing down before the deity, will not come back to this world, because he will go directly to the abode of Krishna. So that's bowing down. Now the next section is standing up to receive the Lord. So in the Brahmananda Purana, it is stated, a person who sees the Lord's Ratha Yatra car festival and stands up to receive the Lord can purge themselves of all kinds of sinful results from their body. So these are, excuse me, these are the two ways that one respects the Lord upon seeing him. They may bow down or they may stand up. If they're sitting, then it may be better to stand up. If they're old, like yours truly, if they have an old body, then it may be easier and more practical to stand before the deity with folded hands. Bhaktivedanta Swami bowed down every time. No matter how old he was, he always bowed down before the Lord. And but anyway, the point is that either of these is acceptable. Okay? Going to the temple of Vishnu or to places of pilgrimage. It is stated in the Puranas, persons who attempt to visit the holy places of pilgrimage, like Vrindavan, Mathura, or Dwarka, are actually glorified in themselves. By such traveling activities, they can pass over the desert of material existence. In the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, there is a statement about the benefit of visiting the various temples of Lord Krishna. As we have explained previously, in Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka, the system is that all the devotees take advantage of visiting various temples situated in the holy places. It is stated in the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya that persons who are impelled by pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness and who therefore go to see the deities of Lord Vishnu in the temple, they will surely gain relief from entering again into the prison house of a mother's womb. Interesting. The conditioned soul forgets the trouble of living within the mother's womb. It's a very miserable existence for the baby. And the baby's growing and growing and can't really go anywhere or do anything. Living within the mother's womb, but it is a very painful and terrible experience. In order to make an escape from this material condition, one is advised to visit a temple of Vishnu with devotional consciousness. Then, one can very easily get out of the miserable condition of material birth. This is one of the reasons why when we take birth, we don't remember our past life, because the experience in the womb is so traumatizing, and the experience of birth is so painful. You think it's painful for mom, it's painful for the baby as well, that they forget everything. They forget everything. Circumambulating the temple of Vishnu. It is said in the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, a person who is circumambulating the deity of Vishnu can counteract the circumambulation of repeated birth and death in the material world. So when we circumambulate Lord Vishnu, we are symbolically, what do you call it? Copying or honoring the repeated birth, the circle of repeated birth and death in the material world. But by doing it with Vishnu, this is all taken away. The conditioned soul is circumambulating through repeated births and deaths on account of his material existence. And this circumambulation can be counteracted simply by the circumambulation of the deity in the temple. The Chaturmasya ceremony is observed during the 4 months of the rainy season in India, July, August, September, and October. Beginning from Shravana, which is one of those months, during these 4 months, saintly persons who are accustomed to travel from one place to another to propagate Krishna consciousness, they will remain at one place, usually at a holy place of pilgrimage. We've seen this example given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and many other. Lord Chaitanya would spend the Chaturmasya months, living with a devotee for those 4 months. And this is not uncommon among devotees in India. There are certain special rules and regulations which are to be strictly followed. It is stated in the Skanda Purana that during this period, if someone circumambulates the temple of Lord Vishnu at least 4 times, that's just once a month, it is understood that they have traveled all over the entire universe. By such circumambulation, one is understood to have seen all the holy places where the Ganges water is flowing. And by following the regulative principles of Chaturmasya, one can very quickly be raised to the platform of devotional service. Artana. Artana means worship of the deity in the temple. By executing this process, one confirms himself to be not the body, but as spirit soul. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is told how Sudama, an intimate friend of Lord Krishna, while going to the house of a Brahmin, murmured to himself, simply by worshiping Krishna, one can easily attain all the results of heavenly opulence, liberation, supremacy over the planetary systems of the universe, all of the opulences of this material world, and mystic power of performing the yoga system. The events leading up to Sudama's murmuring this statement are that Sri Krishna had ordered his friend Sudama to go to a Brahmin's house and ask the Brahmin for some food. The Brahmins were performing a great sacrifice at the time, and Sri Krishna told Sudama to plead with them that he and Balaram were feeling hungry and that they needed some food. When Sudama went there, the Brahmins refused to offer anything. Can't you see we're in the middle of this great sacrifice? We don't have time to do that. But the wives of the Brahmins, that's a different story. Upon hearing about Krishna wanting some foodstuffs, immediately they took many palatable dishes and went to offer them to Lord Krishna. In the Vishnu Rahasya, also it is stated, any person within this world who is engaged in the worship of Lord Vishnu can very easily achieve the ever-blissful kingdom of God, known as Vaikuntha Loka. I think we'll stop there. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions or comments or anything? Well, I don't think we're even halfway through this chapter. This is a very long chapter. Davy, yes?
Haribol.
Haribol.
I've got a question about blasphemy.
Yes.
I've been in a situation where somebody was saying some horrible stuff, and I just told them, basically, I told them to fuck off and left that place.
Well, you defeated his argument then, didn't you?
Yeah, I was going to ask. It wasn't like a philosophical discussion, but is that enough?
Yeah, and you left, right? So yeah, you're pissed off. Fuck off and die, you fucker. And stomp off. It's fine. That shows that you're not going to put up with that crap. So yeah, that's the proper attitude that you want to have. I mean, you're probably not going to shoot him, and you're probably not going to shoot yourself. So just be pissed off. Just to, understand that it's this is not something that I want to listen to, and you're a real asshole for saying it, and don't bother calling me. I'll see you later.
Sure.
So yeah. Oftentimes we are not aware of Annette Rizaba, Ms. Rizaba, how nice to see you. I'm glad you could join us. We are sometimes not aware that we're even being blasphemous. So it's very, very important to be very careful what you say about other people, other devotees or, Krishna, of course. So, any other question? Haribol?
Haribol.
Haribol, Daryl.
Following on from Dave's question about blasphemy, what happens if it's if you're in the company of your family members and they blaspheme or say things about really insulting things, but they don't see it as offensive about Lord Jesus? That happened to me actually after my father's funeral service, and it was kind of a very difficult situation for me because inside I was like, I really wanted to blow,
Yeah.
my brother and my sister, but I didn't say anything in the end. I just, because we were around the dinner table and it was kind of like a difficult situation.
Well, you might have walked out, and that would have at least told them that you were not happy with what was going on. In a family situation, sometimes it's very hard, especially in this Kali Yuga, because people really don't understand. They really don't. They just, they say anything, hey man, it's freedom of speech. I can say whatever the hell I want, and you can go fuck yourself, And that's, that's the attitude that people have. I mean, look at what's going on in the United States these days. I mean, people, in the name of freedom, people are just saying all kinds of crazy things, and they have no idea what they're talking about. And your brother and sister and your family probably really have no idea either. The idea of blaspheming Jesus or blaspheming the Lord, the Father of Jesus, is not very well known among Western Christians. We don't even think about it. We don't even. There is no consciousness of blasphemy. It was only when I began to study yoga principles and everything that I ever heard of blasphemy. I mean, yeah, you talk about in Sunday school or something, you talk about blasphemy, but it really doesn't mean anything for most Christians. It's not something that is often thought of, and people say weird stuff without even considering what they're saying or the consequences of what they're saying.
Yeah, it was basically as they were saying that Jesus is just it was more insulting than that, but like Jesus was just some kind of fictional character,
Right,
You were both brought up Roman Catholic by my mum, my mum who left 20 years ago, and I thought to myself, Mum wouldn't be very happy with him. you know, saying what they were saying. After my dad's funeral service, you know, I was like, it was really inside. I was like, you know, but anyway, yeah. Okay.
Well,
they know how
it's difficult when you grow up in a family of demons. You know, they just they have no. What was it the Lord said? Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. You know, and that's the situation. They don't even know what they're doing. They're hanging themselves by their own words. You know?
No real education, is it? No proper education.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So anything else? Anyone? Let's see. Namaste. What is the difference between meditation on the holy name and, I guess I have to open up the chat to find out what that question is. What is the difference between meditation on the holy names and imagination on it? In one sense, there is no difference. I mean, if you're thinking about the holy name, then you're meditating on the holy name. If you're thinking about the pastimes of Lord Krishna, then then that is a type of meditation on the holy name. I think that when you say imagination on the holy name, then you seem to be considering that, the holy name is fictional, and therefore this is my imagination. But even that, just by mentioning the holy name, just by imagining the holy name, there is purification there. But meditation on the holy name is more also the question in terms of degree. In other words, if you're imagining the holy name along with imagining, golden toilets and mountains of gold and how good a girl looks in a particular dress, and the holy name is there too, that's kind of imagination. But if you're meditating on the holy name, then you're meditating on the holy name, and you try not to allow any of these other things come in. That's the importance of japa. You chant japa loud enough that you can hear it, and when you can hear it, then you can try to bend your mind away from all the different places that it wants to go. So that's meditation on the holy name. I hope that's clear. Is that clear? Let me know what you think. Anyone else? Anyone else have a question? Pinky? Yes?
Haribol, sir. Sir, my question is, sorry, with regards to the wearing of Tulsi, it offers protection, right, sir? So at the time of death, what if the person is like leading a bit of a sinful life, but he is a devotee, but he's wearing the Tulsi? Does it like guarantee protection or something?
If they're engaged in a sinful life, they're not a devotee.
I mean, not really that sinful life. I mean, he has some, like, because a person is not perfect, like.
Yeah. So they're engaged in sadhana bhakti, but they still have some different things going on. Their consciousness is not purified. Okay, then of course, they. I'm sorry. Now, what did that have to do with the Tulsi beads? I got stuck on the other thing.
I mean, does it offer protection?
Of course.
For the person wearing it.
Of course. Many of Prabhupada's disciples. I wear Tulsi beads. My japa beads are Tulsi beads. You should involve yourself with Tulsi as much as you can, and try to get Tulsi from devotees if possible, so that at least you know that it has been, there have been some offering of it. And when you get your Tulsi beads from whomever, however, make sure you offer them before you put them on. Okay? And yes, of course, there is protection. Now, someone says, there was a question last week. The name is in Polish. I don't know what you can make of the question. My take is that it is about online deity worship, the same rule, if the same rules apply. Is online translation deities the same rules? I don't know what to make of that question either. It doesn't seem like it's English. HARIBOL is online translation deities, the same rules. If it is deity worship that you're talking about, is the translation that you're reading online, are they the same rules? I don't know how good your translation is. I mean, if it's Google Translate, it may not be right. If however, you're reading or looking at some translation that is a good translation, this is why so many of Bhaktivedanta Swami's books, he had Lakshmi Priyadasi spoke excellent Spanish. She was a Spanish scholar, but when Bhaktivedanta Swami had her translating Bhagavad Gita and other books into Spanish, he had a whole team of Spanish translators that, one would do the basic translation and then another one would fine-tune it and another one would fine-tune it beyond that to make sure that it was absolutely clear and absolutely correct. So I cannot tell you if online translation is the same rules or if it's even correct or not, because translation, boy, I tell you, it's so easy to misname something. For example, I just saw a documentary where Alexander the Great came upon these mountains in the Himalayas where they had these animals in these mountains that would dig up gold. These mountains had a lot of gold in them, and there were all kinds of these animals. And when they translated it, whoever translated, the original thing, they called them ants. They called them, and they said these ants were about 1 foot long and about 6 inches high, and that they were ants, and that they would dig up this gold. Well, come to find out, they're not ants. They're like gophers. They're like gophers, but for like 400, 500 years, or no, more than that. God, thousands of years since Alexander the Great, everybody's been thinking that this is some kind of a mythical, non-existent creature that used to dig for gold in the Himalayan mountains. Well, it wasn't a non-existent creature. It was a creature. It just wasn't an ant, because the translation was wrong. And so, you really, really have to be careful when you're looking at, like a translation of like what I'm saying or something like that, like some kind of immediate voice to whatever your language is, can be very easily misunderstood. So you need to be very, very careful. If something that I say raises a question in your mind, in your language, then it's probably translated wrong, and you should check it out with somebody, with another devotee who knows, what they're talking about. Okay? Something like that. Ambet, do you think that's pretty clear? That's as clear as I can be. I don't know what else to say, you know. Ambet sent me the question from that devotee. Any other questions? Comments? Criticisms? Well, thank you very, very much. Katrino, I miss seeing you. Oh, there's Annette again, Ms. Rizava. Thank you for joining us, Annette. I miss seeing you too. Sharni, Davy, Daryl, Pinky, Ellen, Artana Dasi, Renia, Ambet, Narayana Dasi, Namaste. Thank you very much. And thank you to all the Bhaktas in Binyan. Namaste. Thank you so much. Haribol. Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramahansa Namine Gaurakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gaurakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gaurakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gaurakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Bhaskadya Desatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhaskadya Desatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhaskadya Desatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Bhaskadya Desatarine Bhajashi Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sadegor Bhaktavrinda Vajra Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gadadhara Shivasadegor Bhaktavrinda Bhajashi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadegor Bhaktavrinda Vajra Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadegor Bhaktavrinda Vajrashi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadegor Bhaktavrinda Vajrashi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadegor Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Haribol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol.